And we're back with more Missing Stars. And last time we were put into a position where we needed to make a choice that could be very dangerous for all parties involved. I've actually had to give this some thought. And honestly, in this position, it kind of occurs to me the smart thing to do would be for one of us to go check on Natalia and for one of us to go get help. And if Fran, for all their eccentricities, doesn't really seem to be the most courageous in terms of combat. So we're sending the guy with the bum leg to deal with this problem. So I'm probably going to get him killed. So, Eric, it's been nice knowing you, pal. But I need to intervene at least. They may be tough looking and all, but if I don't at least try to do something now, then it may be too late. My feet spring to action faster than my mind resolves my tangled mess of thoughts. Then I run toward them, or at least, if you consider limping forward just a bit faster to be a kind of running. Hey! Eric! Natalia's eyes sparkle from relief as she squeals my name. The huge girls turn to me, greeting me with glare so sharp I almost instinctively turned back and ran for my own life. You damn coward! Our friend needs us! Get it together! What's going on? Oh, for God's... Oh, that's just lovely. The little princess is already gone and gotten herself a knight. Wonderful romantic. Tell me, Sir Limpy, what's it any of your business, huh? Ava took a few steps forward in my direction. I struggled to keep my wits in check. Well, I rummaged through my mind for something, anything that might deter them for even a bit. As it is, my high-pitched stammering isn't doing wonders for me. Dude, there's failing the charisma check, and then there's just completely dropping the ball. You're kind of doing both, if we're being perfectly honest here. But, come on, our friend's in trouble. Can't threaten Natalia like that. I'll call a teacher. Ava's smile widens derisively. You'll tell whom? I'm gonna call the... I don't even get to finish my sentence. Ava grabs me by the collar and launches me backward like a rag doll. The bevy bursts into laugh. Bro, what kind of lightweight are you? Okay, I get it, bad leg, but your arms work. You're probably too nice for your own good, dude. My face burns so hard it somehow feels colder than hot. I'm a goddamn it, I'm not even a weak guy. I climb mountains with Gustav. Never got picked on before. I wasn't exactly the type to get in fights, but nobody tried to hit me either. Certainly not a girl, definitely not an ogress. She's not that big. Where are you getting this impression? Yeah, she might be athletic, but there's legit videos of random schlubs going up to some of the strongest weightlifting, strongest women in weightlifting, and they'll routinely beat them. Bro, dig your heels in the tiniest bit. Try to scramble back to my feet. This whole situation's insane. What am I supposed to do? Cry for help? Kick her? Go on, Limpy. Go tattle on me then. Tell the teachers about it. I don't care. We'll see how long you... Good morning, everyone. Is something the matter? Oh, good. Someone competent is here. Ava's gaze turns on behind me, and her smile twitches in shock for a moment. I glance at our savior and catch a wisp of extremely familiar strawberry blonde hair. She smiles at me, offering a hand to help me to my feet. I can almost feel my panic evaporate at the sight of her. Ava, on the other hand, doesn't look as relieved. Katya, what do you want? Please pardon my intrusion. I was just passing by. It's a marvelous day, isn't it? The gentle breeze blowing through the trees outside, the smell of the violets blooming. Something to be appreciated in perfect natural silence, and I must say your rowdiness here is interfering with that. Pains to see you haven't learned yet from last time, Evie. I'd like to believe that it ill behooves a student at this institution picking on the helpless. Eva takes a small step back, eyes still fixed on Katya. Looking at them now, she's still probably the taller one. Why don't you just... She doesn't get to finish that sentence, not because Katya does anything, at least nothing I can see. Just glares at her. I'm in the first 10 minutes of the video, guys. I can't go all in yet. Let's give it a few minutes, and then we'll get to all the naughty words that this book has. VNs are kind of like books, right? That's fair to say. Nah, I'm just stupid. Let's not worry about that. Just stands there, with her arms folded over her chest, looking at her with that one perfect brown eye. That language is beneath you, Ava. I suggest you do not shame yourself by continuing that sentence. She takes a tiny, graceful step forward. Ava, almost like a dancing partner, steps back in perfect tandem. The big girl simply glares in silence to try to gauge her reaction. Big girl? Again, where are you getting this impression? She looks like she's barely any bigger than Natalia. So, like, I don't, am I the one? Am I crazy? Everyone, go to the comment section and tell me if I'm the crazy one. Her face contorts into various strange, grotesque forms. She tries to take in Katja's presence, apprehension, tension, maybe even fear? I'd like to believe you're smart enough to learn from the last time I found you like this. Smart enough perhaps to have learned that scaring off a pair of new students would not be worth what would come for you in return. Ava, whose face has already gone through the spectrum from pink to red and then back to white, opens her mouth to reply, but the voice that comes out is absolutely zero of its previous confidence. Shut up! I don't give a... One of Katja's porcelain fingers taps once against her arm. I wouldn't even see it if I wasn't standing right beside her, but Ava looks like she just punched her in the stomach. I was not finished. You will wait, and you will not disturb me until I am finished. She takes another step forward. So I was saying, Ava, considering your illustrious history, I would in your place think very carefully about how I wish to proceed. I would also, on the subject of manners, suggest you reconsider your language, not just in speaking to me, but when speaking to other people. Your language reflects on you. Now, Evie, was there something you wanted to say? Ava stands speechless against the very same wall she held up Natalia to until a moment ago. Katja waits patiently, her expression not changing one bit. Once an unbearably long minutes pass without Ava saying anything, Katja smiles again. Magnificent, isn't it? How far calmer everything becomes. Could I trust you to try harder next time? Yes. Good. That's all, I think, that can be asked of you. Ava's stance stiffens. Her fists, I quickly notice, begin shaking at her sides. She clears her throat and takes a big lungful of air. This isn't over. Katja's smile thins. It would most certainly look that way, yes. And what a shame would it be then, wouldn't it? Think how lonely you'd have it without me. Ava's practically fuming now, but can't bring herself to say anything. Just stares angrily at Katja for about half a minute, rage simmering behind her eyes. With that, Ava beckons to her lackeys as she storms off, but not without a noticeable rush in her stride. The two other girls follow suit and catch up with her. Soon enough, there's only silence. Natalia lets out a big sigh of relief, still visibly shuddering. She wipes her eyes on the cuff of her sleeve. That was very close. Are you okay? Did they hurt you or anything? Her green eyes shine again as she is reminded of my presence. No, but they were very scary. They were just dragging me off here and kept asking me for money. I was so nervous. She says that, but she's already bounced back to her old chipper self. Does anything ever faze this girl? People who have the best sense of humor are oftentimes incredibly depressed. You gotta keep that in mind. Look at Robin Williams. I can't give that much right away, though, of course. Sophia, she'll be mad at me. Don't worry, there'd be no need for any of it. Please, try to calm down. Natalia's gaze meets mine, and she blushes heavily. Taking a big gulp of air, she approaches me and grabs my hands. I want to say thank you for stepping in, Eric. You were so very, very cool that... Not really. Bro got bodied. You sure showed them how much of a pathetic wuss I am, I guess, but even so, the sheer earnestness in Natalia's tone makes my heart skip a beat. Oh, that's nothing. Besides, I didn't do much. It's Katja here who did most of the work. She stepped back and hurriedly turns to regard the tall young woman standing beside me. Yes, miss, thank you, too. You sure showed them as well. You're very welcome. I'd have been a poor friend not to. She bows slightly the same way she did with me and gives Natalia a big warm smile. I'm Katja Bohm, from Mr. Rosenstein's class, originally from Linz, Austria. It's a pleasure to meet you. Realizing the cue, Natalia collects herself and bows in greeting a bit more sloppily than usual. Natalia Petrovna Volkova. I gave that my best shot. Don't roast me too hard. From Mrs. Karen's class. The honor is with me, Miss Katja. They shake hands, though you couldn't tell them, seeing how Natalia's practically yanking Katja's arm off her shoulder in her excitement. Yeah, so again, thanks a lot back there, Katja. I really have no idea what they would have done if you hadn't come. Probably thrown you across the yard again. Don't worry yourself about it. As I mentioned, none of these girls with their records could so much as afford to bother a pair of new students. I'd say you'd find this institution exceedingly harsh on violence of any form. I should think so, given the clientele. Just saying. I'm not that sort of person myself. Naturally, nor is Miss Volkova, it appears. Natalia is good. She nods. All the same, I advise against confronting them soon, at least out of sight of a teacher. They'd be stupid to try anything, but with the right type of person in mind, that's far from what I'd call assurance. I expect her to laugh at her own joke, or at least acknowledge it. She doesn't, though. If anything, she looks genuinely thoughtful when she says it. Before you... Sounded like you've known each other? She turns her eye towards me, her expression softening once more into a calming smirk. As it happens, you get to know all kinds of people around here. What was that you talked about? Private matter, I'm afraid. None that should interest you. Suffice to say, you wouldn't meet a student in this school who hasn't been down at least once. They may lie about it, or tell you that they don't care, or some might think it's fun to shove in other people's faces when it's their turn to trip and fall. Very few of them, however, would like it if you reminded them of back when it was their own. It's a big stone to throw in a glass house. I nod quietly. The way she took control of the situation was pretty amazing, and I think a lot of it might just be how Katja rolls. At the same time, though, it's hard not to feel a little uncomfortable with what she said. I suppose in that light, she really was being considerate of Ava by not digging up all that dirty laundry right in front of us. Without even noticing it, my gaze passed over Katja's bandaged wrists again. It's funny how much easier the eye patch is to forget about in comparison. I guess what she said applies to her just the same. Not that I can imagine anyone who'd dare to hold it against her. Definitely not after today's show. Is there any way I can repay you, Miss Katja? I'm very, very thankful for your help, and I... how about dinner? You can have dinner with us. My treat. Fran, Eric, you too. Oh, so you didn't run away soiling yourself. Okay, Fran. All the good you were. Sure enough, Fran's already crept up behind me. Oh, geez, how can I say no to that? You didn't do anything. Katja's features dim and form a mask of apology. I'm grateful for the offer, but sadly, I will have to decline. I've made an appointment already, and I tried to avoid going back on my promises wherever possible. Talia looks like she'll press the issue anyway, so I jump in before she gets another word in edgewise. Oh, right. We understand. Well then, if there's nothing else I can help with, I shall be off. By your leave. Yes, have a good evening. Katja smiles and turns to depart. That could have gone uglier, definitely. All of you are very brave, Eric. Why, thank you so much. You didn't do anything, you joker. As I said, you did precisely squat, Fran. Hey, picking your fights is a form of bravery, too. Besides, I would have gone for help if things went south. But in the end, what matters is that it didn't, yeah? More importantly, why were those girls after you in the first place, Natalia? Hearing this dampens Natalia's exhilaration. She was like the fidgeting as the delight in her smile shrinks to nervousness. Well, good question, that. I met them right after classes at the second floor corridor of my building, and this girl, the tallest of them, she was on the phone. And? Her phone had this cute little kitty cat keychain on it, yes. I approached her and asked her to show the keychain to me, and we had a bit of a struggling. Before I knew of it, her phone goes to be flying off the side of the building. I can hardly know it to be phone when I found it on the ground floor where it fell. For all a few seconds, Flan, I just stare at her in silence as our minds process her story. I can almost feel my blood as it's draining out of my face. Anything wrong? Let's get this straight. You just up and tried to grab her phone, like, right out of her hands? Yes? So she does have cause to be angry with you, if nothing else. I just wanted to see and touch it. And tell you don't simply grab people's cell phones right out of their hands. It's rude. This girl's a catastrophic threat to her own safety, I swear. Even Fran grins in a weird mixture of amazement and dismay. But Zoneka doesn't get angry when I do it. Her head hangs as she mumbles out an apology. Man, I'm like a father scolding his little child. It's going to be a few more hours before dinner. Shall we walk with you to your dorm in the meantime? Oh, thank you very much. No problem. It's the least a gentleman can do. Nod in agreement, and we head back. I feel Natalia's soft fingers clasping gently onto my arm behind me as we make our way out of the little grove. I sigh. There's worse company, I guess. Then I remember the time. Sorry, everyone. I just remember that I promised Miss Clay that I'd join a tutor after classes to help situate myself in the curriculum, and it's never going to be late to these things on your first day. You're kidding. You can skip that. No, I can't. Fran, you do not understand, and I wouldn't expect you to either. But this is important to me. No, I'm not. Can't be late. Catch you later. Nat seems a little saddened by this, but I flash her a smile. I'll see you after class tomorrow. This cheers her up slightly. Okay. Waving to them, I split away in the direction of the library. I'm going to be honest. Natalia is super cute. And I think if Jean were not in the game or not a pursuable route, I might go for Natalia. I think she's super cute. And any girl who loves really terrible puns is okay in my book. After all of that with the bullies, I can feel every muscle tensed up within me. At this point, I'd rather just go home. No, Eric. I, as the gamer, have to take a stand on this. This is a moral issue now, and that moral issue is mon petit chauffeur. This is important. It's important. Unfortunately, it's not happening. I'm promising with Jean now that classes are done. Sure, I'm looking forward to working with her, but the idea of doing more schoolwork after class makes me feel like bashing my head into a textbook. You'd have homework anyway! Bro, work with me here! It's a necessary meeting, but I make my way through the door and... Eric! What? I'm sorry, did I surprise you? It takes me a moment to phase back into reality. No, I'm being picked up? Jean nods her head. Conveniently enough, my inner thought seems to have summoned her. I just thought that since you're new here, you probably haven't been to the library yet. That's a very reasonable assumption. Thank you, Jean. Hopefully I wasn't being too presumptuous. Not at all. I appreciate any assistance I can get. I mean, the fact that I need a tutor shows I have a long way to go to adjust. I hope that doesn't come off as rude. There's nothing wrong with needing a tutor, and I'm glad that we're able to hang out. Oh, she's adorable. Oh, I love her so much. I definitely understand how weird things can be adjusting to a new school. I feel my smile faltering, work extra hard to keep it up for Jean. Right. The library isn't far. Ready to head out? Sure, lead the way. Great. Can't put my finger on it, but she's much different than when I first met her earlier this week. There's a distinct peppiness to her. It's quite refreshing, especially after such a long day like this. Being thrown across a freaking courtyard? Like, yeah, dude. Then again, she was dealing with a nosebleed before. Yeah, that probably put her off her A game. She probably, wasn't really 100% prepared. Can't really blame her for that. Jean takes me around a few hallways, and within moments brings me in front of the library's double doors. If the distinctive sign above them didn't give the location away, the musk of old books permeating the area definitely would. She really wasn't kidding on the library's location. There was barely enough time for me to formulate a conversation starter in my head before we're already walking through the main doors. Jean, now turning my way, begins to speak in hushed tones as we enter the room. Welcome to the library. It's probably one of the oldest places in the school. Plenty of old religious texts on the shelves to back that. This is also a popular after-school hangout for studying, friendly meetups, and of course catching up on one's reading material. I notice various groups of students cluster around tables and chairs, either hard at work or quietly talking amongst themselves. Reading material that doesn't involve studying? A lot of people like a change of space when reading for fun. In fact, a lot of students are lounging uncomfortably, holding novels in their hands. I'm actually a little disappointed to be surprised by this, but life feels like normal space despite all its grandeur. I mean, the buildings have been modernized. It's not like they wouldn't have had, upgrades. There's literally a computer right there, bro. Come on. So making something less fancy and more safe for students. Okay, you're really just calling their competence into question with that. I don't know what to say to that. Some larger study areas in the back. Just follow me. She can snap her fingers quietly in the library. Interesting. I think she would have some control over that. It's not like she wouldn't be able to adjust at all. Especially if she was born with it. She leads me further and further into the library. The sound of the turning pages fading only after we walk past the first couple of bookshelves. Soon enough, we arrive at the corner of the library that seems empty, save for one person scribbling in a notebook. We're back, Isolde. Isolde, another familiar face, tilts her head in Jean's direction. Welcome back, Jean. She then turns back to her notebook, pauses, then faces me. Oh. Another pause. Hello, Eric. She greets me a little stiffly, but smiles nonetheless. I'll think that is a good sign. You two know each other already? Yeah, we ran into each other the other day while I was out for a walk. Isolde nods in agreement. Some of the birds are scared away, but I remember them well enough to draw. She flips her notebook to one of the many bird sketches, pointing to one at the bottom of the page. From what I can see, it looks even more impressive than what I saw during our time in the woods. Guess she worked on it more after we returned to the main school campus. It was great as always, Isolda. They both nod as if they were noting the weather, but the fact that she had sketched the rest of that bird from memory astounds me. Maybe thinking too hard about this, but Isolda really is an amazing artist. Well, Jean shoots a glance my way. This saves us the trouble of introductions, then. She beckons for me to take a seat at the small table. Let's get started. Across from where they're sitting are two more identical empty seats for me to situate myself. I find the seat right across from Jean. Correct choice. Well done, sir. She's placing my bag on the seat next to me as she starts off the tutoring session. What do you two need help with today? Isolde instantly raises her hand. I would like, well, a pause. Fairly long one. I'm not really sure. Do you want to look through your notes first, Isolde? That might give you a few ideas. Another pause. Shorter this time. Okay. I decided to get things moving on my end, too. In that case, I was wondering if you could help me with my science homework. Do you know much about science? Jean's eyes immediately light up. Science is my specialty. Oh, she keeps getting cuter all the time. Jean's a lot closer to me as I reach towards my homework, her eyes eagerly darting to my worksheet. Which class are you taking? Her entire upper body is now stretched across the table. It is adorable when people nerd out about stuff that they're passionate about. I love that so much. It's literally why my channel exists. Wow, looks like she's really fired up about this. Just physics. With Mr. Lummer, correct? There's only one physics professor, or she's really good at this. Yeah, Tim. He's a pretty good teacher, but... Isolde slaps down her notebook and enthusiastically points to a page densely covered in notes. I found it! How loud she shouted. I'm pretty sure you could have heard her from the other side of the school. Found what? She looks at me as if it was some ridiculous question. The homework I needed help with. I told that we shouldn't shout in the library, remember? Oh. Her face, once beaming with excitement, now glows red as she sinks back into her chair. Sorry, I was just a little excited. You're okay. Just remember we should always keep this face quiet for others. Jean shoots a glance my way as she starts reaching for the materials Isolde slammed down. Eric, do you mind waiting a little? This will only take a minute. Sure, no problem. Jean turns back to Isolde's assignment and I want to kill some time on my own. Despite Jean's assurance, I imagine this will take a while. I decided to pour over my notes instead, trying to get a start on my homework, a worksheet with some physics equations to solve. There's a saying that my physics professor once told me, is that if it's gross, it's biology. If it smells bad, it's chemistry. And if it doesn't work, it's physics. It's not too hard. The kinds of equations in my notes just aren't matching up with the equations on the worksheet. Am I doing something wrong? I was trying to turn my attention back to Jean and Isolde. Multiply this number here, and you're set. X equals 5. That was fast. Did Isolde manage to keep up with that? I glance over to her. She seems to be smiling and nodding through all of it. Do you have any questions? No, I got it. No hesitation on her part, either. A knot of apprehension forms in my stomach. Am I really about to compete with that level of efficiency without embarrassing myself? You see, young Eric, I was not the best student either. Everyone has their strong points and their weak points. Like, I could have an English teacher give us an essay assignment. I could BS it the night before and easily get a B+. English was something I excelled in. Then I would go to algebra, and I was basically dumb as rocks. Like, I struggled with algebra pretty much up until I was in college. So, one, I sympathize, and two, you really shouldn't bother comparing yourself to other people. It's not going to be an apples-to-apples comparison anyway. You're really just doing yourself a disservice. Okay, you can work through the problem you just did. I'll help Eric out in the meantime. Okay. Jean directs her attention at me. So, Eric, what questions do you have? Well, beside the obvious, how did you go over those worksheet problems at the speed of light, I did manage to find some things to go over. These equations I have in my notes aren't matching up with those in the worksheet. It's like the variables are switched around in my head. Oh, Shalomar didn't go over how to solve for this specific equation yet. I vaguely recall something like that during the lecture the other day. Jean seems to take my hesitation as a no. With a knowing smile, she continues. In that case, I'll walk you through it. I nod hesitantly. Despite my initial fears, Jean proves herself to be a fantastic tutor. Okay, I hadn't even noticed this, because like it's mentioned in the dialogue, but it wasn't shown, because I think she was covering her nose. We actually get to see her hand, her left hand. He said it was missing a part of the digit. And I think this is the first time we've been able to see that up to this point. So that's interesting. She listens patiently as I talk her through my confusion, though it's quick to jump in to explain a few of my misunderstandings when necessary. Every page of Mr. Lummer's worksheet begins to translate itself before my very eyes. Oh, wow. How did I not catch that before? Gene makes quick work of every question I have. Yeah, form this function to a set of numbers and you're set. I bet you know what to do in order to solve for it, right? For T, right? I turn a smile with an enthusiastic grin and work out a particularly difficult problem. Here. I read exactly how Gene explained it to me. Is this correct? You got it. Gene's reassuring presence has wondrous lifting my spirits, and I can't help but feel a little proud of my work so far. Okay, how about we try something a little different? Unlike her earlier speech with Isolde, Jean takes her time talking me through the rest of the worksheet, which after her intervention becomes a relatively simple task. She points out shortcuts and simple tricks she's learned during her classes and jots them down in my notebook as we go for later reference. Isolde seems awfully quiet during the entirety of the conversation, though I notice that she's already finished with her work. I guess that math problem was her only question. Finally, we finish up the worksheet just as the sun starts peeking through the curtains around us. Well, I think that's it. All done. The moment feels good. It's nice to know that I'm not completely hopeless at this sort of thing. Plus, I'll finally have some free time this evening. So, Eric, was that helpful? Yeah, you really saved my skin here. Thanks a bunch, Gene. Oh no, it's nothing, really. So you said earlier you're a fan of science subjects. Yes, I've been taking the highest level physics courses here. She beams brightly and proudly. What are you learning in there? Oh, lots of things, really. Today's lecture was discussing a few of Einstein's field equations. That's one of those things that one of those has got an E in it, right? I continue to prove that I'm not good at equations. Well, you aren't wrong. E equals mc squared is the most well-known relativity equation from him. Probably won't go over those topics, Mr. Lummer, in your class, though. Relativity and quantum mechanics, I believe, don't come up until the next semester level for you. I have opinions here, but I'm going to let it ride. Something exciting to look forward to, then. Honestly, I just hope I can pass this current class with no issues. I know, right? I really want to get into the more interesting lectures about supersymmetry and particle physics, though. Both have amazing applications together and with other fields. Sounding of the chapel bell halts Jean's scientific tirade. Oh, it's that late already? I'm sorry, I took a lot of time to get through everything with you. That being said, do you think you're set, or would you like to meet up again this weekend? Yes, 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 yes. Her enthusiasm is a bit much to take in. Well, does Saturday work for you? I should say, just in case. Well, I do get most of the material now. Chances are that I'll probably get some more homework this weekend. Getting some extra help once in a while wouldn't hurt. Does Saturday work? Actually, I could use some extra help. I have some essays to finish up that day, so maybe. I should be done then. I can meet you in the library around noon. Okay, sounds good. Does that work for you too, Isolde? She looks at the two of us, pondering something for a while. She waits patiently, and Isolde eventually nods in agreement. It's close to when we usually meet, so it should be fine. We agree on a time and place to meet up, and then we head our separate ways. This arrangement isn't too bad, I think to myself. At the very least, it's one more course I'll do well in. At most, I might have found a couple of friends. Eric, you don't understand, but a decision has been made on your behalf, and I made it. And I may not be a proud Snek, but I am one who knows what he wants in life. And in this case, it's a cute, chubby French girl. You know, welcome to reality is what I'm trying to say. I wake from a dream-filled sleep, meaningless fragments of equations swirling in my mind for a few moments. A result of my brain allowing everything we went over yesterday to crystallize overnight, maybe. If these study sessions carry on like that, I'm pretty hopeful that I might just do okay here, academically at least. I hoist myself out of bed, buoyed by these relatively optimistic thoughts, and get ready for another day. On the way to biology, after an uneventful homeroom session, I spy a familiar face in the corridor outside Mrs. Karen's class. Rather, a familiar back of the head. Does English have a word for that? I don't know the answer to that. Hey, Anna. Annalise turns, not looking quite as surprised as, at this point, I'd come to expect. The corner of her mouth twitching, she raises her hand slightly in greeting. Do we share this class? She nods, looking a little amused. Must have missed you on Tuesday. She shrugs. Still a bit tricky communicating. I sent her a few messages over the past couple of days, mainly about whatever music I was listening to while studying or doing homework, and it's clear that interacting like that comes much more naturally to Anna than trying to talk face to face. It's a shame because we don't have much other choice. Surely we can't keep using our phones to communicate while we're right next to one another. why not? Like, if that's what's comfortable for you, do it. Sort of cute the first time around, but I can see it getting old. Eric, you're still a... It's very clear that he's a teenager and that I'm significantly older than him because, like, I don't know if it was my 20s or when I finally did hit my 30s, but it was really just that I don't care what people think. I'm going to live my life my way, and that's what I'm going to do. And teens are, well, let's just say it takes them a while to get over themselves. Essentially, having the same thoughts. Her expression is one of someone who's trying to figure out what to say next. She checks her phone, perhaps for the time. I wasn't not sure why she's standing outside the classroom rather than just sitting at her desk inside. It's only a few minutes until class, and there are already a few others already inside, visible through the wired glass window on the door. Maybe the other people inside are exactly the reason for Anna's loitering, come to think of it, but I wouldn't want to guess at something so potentially sensitive. With nothing better to say, I speak up. What are you waiting around outside for? She looks at me puzzlingly, as though to say, class hasn't started, why would I go in? I guess she has a point in a way. Classrooms are for class, but conversely, you can sit down in there. Still, I choose not to belabor the point. Fair enough. Not sure what I'm saying that about exactly, but she seems to understand. It's a lot of guessing when it comes to communicating with Annalise. I think back to our text conversation yesterday, discussing music as ever while studying. What do you think of that new album in the end? She shrugs again, then for a second or two appears to be thinking, perhaps of a new way to convey relatively complex thought entirely in simple gestures. She ought to learn sign language. Eventually she relents, pulling out her phone. Well, that's how it has to be, I don't mind. I grab mine too. Honestly, pretty great. Apparently the old lead leaving was a good thing. Who would have thought? Yeah, some bands are better off like that. The last album with him was pretty good, but this is something else. Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about how you fell out the band. What was his name again? Don't remember, actually, but I thought he was kind of a dick. Or not a dick, just a bit pretentious, I don't know. I'll probably still listen to whatever solo stuff he does next, though. He writes good lyrics. It's funny, when he was still in the band, he seemed so integral, like he created their sound and wrote everything, but now it's like he was never there, totally unimportant. Occurs once again, just how much of a contrast there is between in-person Anna and text Anna. In a way, it gets me a little down. On the other hand, if we can at least have conversations like this, it can't be so bad. They laugh, both in response and what Anna said, or texted, and my own thoughts. It's often how things are, isn't it? How do you mean? Do you think something's really super important, and you couldn't do without it until it's gone? Then you realize you'll be fine, and that you might even be better off than you were. True. But also sometimes it's the opposite, and you don't know how much you needed something until it's gone. Yeah, I guess that is true, too. Idioms are kind of dumb. Except when they're not. I laugh again. Except when they're not. There are exceptions to everything. Why bother saying anything? Wow, so deep. I'm a little taken aback by that. It looks like the entity be starting to engage in a banter, I guess? Still, taken aback in a good way. It's nice to know she can relax a little. Anna's expression changes abruptly. Oh shit, class started 2 minutes ago. She grimaces as I check my watch. Totally forgot we're in school. How did we both miss the bell? She smiles slightly, but doesn't immediately reach for the door handle. Okay, we better go in. I take the lead. Luckily, it seems as though we haven't missed any of the actual class, and nobody seems to care much about two people entering the classroom just 2 minutes after the bell. On my school, I would get frickin' roasted for that. My dad was military, so you had to be 5 minutes early for everything. So I was that kid who was, in the class before the teacher was in some cases. But my school, they would grill you if you were after the bell. Anna still seems nervous about it, though, scampering to her desk, clearly hoping not to be noticed. It's a mannerism I already recognize in her. She takes a seat, as do I, though we're separated by a few rows of desks, just as Mrs. Karen greets the class. I surreptitiously saw my phone back out of my pocket, using it one-handed under the lip of my desk. By the way, is there a word for the back of the head? It takes me just a few seconds to get a reply. Yeah, occiput. Occiput? I think. Why? I was just wondering. Doesn't it occur much later in the day that I could have just searched the web for this? My phone buzzes again. You have a nice occiput. Thank you. That might be the greatest compliment I've ever received. Oh, I just had flashbacks to that Phineas and Ferb episode where they discovered that the little plastic or metal thing on the end of shoelaces is called an aglet, and they literally wrote a musical number dedicated to it. No, thank you. I get to look at it for this whole lesson. I look up and wonder how long the teacher's been staring daggers at me. Dude, it's super obvious when people are on their phones. Like, people do not just stare down at the floor and smile randomly. Like, it's super obvious. You're not subtle. Stealthily, I slide my phone back into my pocket. Seems to be good enough for Mrs. Karen. He turns back to the board and begins the lesson proper. The teacher starts introducing today's topic, something about how heart rate is controlled. My mind is elsewhere. Primarily, my thoughts are on how unexpectedly open Annalise has been today. It certainly wasn't expected, and quite a change from last time we spoke. I guess it was just as easy as getting a phone number, which can be challenging depending on context. Now that I think about it, that's not something that's generally considered to be easy, is it? I guess in this case it has a different meaning attached. It's totally necessary for communication, after all. Teacher's voice comes briefly into my consciousness. External factors such as perceived threat can increase myogenic stimulation of the heart. I wonder if any external factors stimulated the change I've seen in Anna. Is that a weird thing to wonder? Like a little bit. A little bit, I decide, okay, we're on the same page then. Cool. Probably shouldn't tell anyone how much I'm thinking about this. No, definitely not. These impulses that control the beating of the heart are transmitted by a bundle of his... I hear a few students mutter variations of, why don't we give him his bundle back? Or, what about the bundle of hers? And snort. My mind quiets. I focus on the lesson. What? At the end of the lesson, as I'm standing to pack my books, I feel a presence behind me and turn on the spot. Annalise, unsurprisingly, had approached wordlessly. She thrust a piece of paper into my hand, reminding me somewhat of our first encounter. On it, in her distinctive, slightly spider-like handwriting, is a numbered list of, I'm not sure what, random words and phrases, as far as I can tell. She looks at me expectantly, one eyebrow raised. Clearly it's supposed to mean something to me. It's about as much as I can come up with. I don't... Oh! It hits me as I recognize one of the items a little way down the list. Albums! Corners of Anna's mouth twitch in what I recognize to be as close as she gets most of the time to a smile. I take another look at the list. Do I have to listen to all of these? Anna looks mock offended. She takes out her phone. You don't have to. If you don't want to develop at least passable taste in music, that's your lookout. Oof. She just roasted you, Protag. Come on. Hey, I think my taste is pretty good. I actually have no opinion at all. Uh-huh, sure. She looks smug and thankfully is clearly joking. They're good albums, though. Don't feel like listening to that many full albums. I put the best track from each underneath. Look. When I look up, she taps the paper, pointing out the second phrases in brackets after each album title. That's handy. I thought I'd get through all these albums anytime soon. And emits an audible humph. I try not to let my surprise show. Any animosity, playful or otherwise, clearly melts away almost immediately, though. I grin. I'll get through them. Which one should I do tonight? What's good for studying to? Anna takes the list, scanning through it briefly, then hands it back to me enthusiastically, pointing out an item about halfway down the list. It's really chill and it'll get your mind going. Perfect for focus without being too intrusive, you know? That sounds perfect. I'll put that on for 2 tracks before swapping back to the same 3 videos I watch on loop instead. Another small humph. This time with crossed arms to match is the reply with which I'm blessed. I'm kidding. Then something unexpected happens. Anna reaches out and punches me playfully on the arm. Perhaps ordinarily this would be totally unworthy of comment, but, you know, it's Annalise. She withdraws her arm a little hesitantly, as if unsure what just happened. The corners of her mouth curl again, though. I laugh, and whatever little tension there was is broken. Then a voice from behind me puts that tension right back together. Do you two want to miss your next class? I immediately and disorientingly regain awareness of my surroundings. The classroom's empty aside from us and the teacher. Man, I had no idea I'd zoned out so much. Oh, no, miss, we were just setting up a study session? Mm-hmm. Okay, study session for music, right? She looks at us far too knowingly. On your way. I grin back at Anna, whose expression perfectly matches the feeling in my soul. She nods at the door and we depart. Looks like we got away with it. The classroom door closed behind us, the bell rings for the beginning of the next lesson, and at least a few minutes walk away for me. Wow, we're great students. Anna flashes me her subtle smile again. I'm getting to like it, and grabs her phone once more. We have much more important things to discuss than biology. Absolutely. Can't remember any of the album names you wrote down now, but I'd try to make a joke about one of them right now if I could. That was pretty meta, right? Anyway, you don't have English next, do you? She shakes her head. Shame. Okay, I'm going this way. Anna points in the opposite direction. Right, see you later then. I'll let you know what I think of these tracks. You better. Later. She's giving us another small, barely a wave and exits, and I head to English class. I still don't know how to feel about communicating with Anna purely via text. Hasn't got old yet, which I guess is a good thing, but still, surely it's only a matter of time. It does feel limiting sometimes. I mean, text is slower. Like, there's no doubt about it. No matter how fast you type, everyone talks like at a cadence that's generally faster than text in most cases. But it's also like, if that's what you're comfortable with, then do what's natural for you. Like, friends and couples and whatever will communicate by the means that is the most natural for them. And if that works for her, then by all means do it. Eric is one of those visual novel protagonists who has a difficult time getting out of his own head, and that is some hashtag relatable stuff, let me tell you. Can't stop the intrusive thoughts in my head that are begging me to find out why she's hesitant to talk. I mean, the first time we met, I could understand. Once again, I'm reminded of multiple people telling me how important it is to be sensitive to other people's ways of living and working here. But now, I don't know, she seems pretty comfortable with me, and the little punch, that was sweet. She'll do that, but won't talk. I mean, everyone's got their thing, man. I shake my head a little, trying to clear these circular thoughts from my mind. It's been a pretty good morning so far, no sense in ruining it with anxiety if I can avoid it. No, trust me, anxiety is very good at doing that. The lunch bell finally rings, stopping the teacher's impassioned rant mid-sentence. He rolls his eyes and sighs in defeat, proceeding to quickly dictate tomorrow's homework before marching out into the hall. I feel faintly sorry for him, strangely enough. He was so engrossed in his tedious, convoluted explanation of the nuances of the French language that he practically didn't even take a stop to breathe. That vague feeling of guilt is quickly stilled by the rumbling of my stomach, though. As if on cue, Fran lifts themselves out of their seat and taps me on the shoulder. Still no curse words. That again? You don't think I'm serious about that? I don't think you're serious about anything. Fran pouts and put their hands on their hips in mock anger. That's cold. And speaking of cold, I could really use a nice big glass of orange juice right now. Are you going with me to lunch? Sophia's visiting today. Ah, is that so? Fine, I'll go. Not like there's anywhere else I can go at this time of day. Even if there was, though, I'm sure Fran wouldn't hear of it. Satisfied with my response, they turn on their heel and wait for me at the doorway. I head over to them and then head out into the hall. We join the line before the cafeteria counter without further incident. The place I noticed isn't any less noisy or animated today. In fact, I think it may have become even rowdier from what I've seen so far. It's hard to make out individual conversations from the din, but I can clearly pick up on the sheer excitement in their voices. Did someone spike everyone's food with killer amounts of caffeine, I wonder? Jeez, everyone's really pumped already. Small wonder that. I did hear the school was trying to top last year's, Enterdonk Fest. Enterdonk Fest, I think. Student Council Press is already running around the school, hauling loads of paperwork and supervising the preparations. She's such a cutie, isn't she? Huh? I meant Ella. I meant I definitely hit it. You jealous? No way. Haha, playing hard to get now, eh? Anywho, you probably heard from the school festival, right? It'll be on next weekend, so you can't blame them for being antsy and excited. Especially the ones who are aiming to score. Are you aiming to score? The hell are you even talking about? This wink for an answer, ultimately neither expecting nor wanting them to elaborate. I just keep my mouth shut as we move up the line for our food. The ordeal soon passes, thus we make our way to our usual spot. True enough, the twins are already there, chatting in what must be Russian. Noticing us, they will smile and nod in acknowledgement. Hey there, Eric. Fran? Hello, friends. hello. Sophia's here today. Why did I see friends? I think I jumped to Sophia's name? I'm just stupid. Whatever. I noticed. Yeah. Hello, you two. We sit across from them, and the two resume talking. Or at the very least, it's just Natalia talking in her overzealous, overly energetic voice, Sophia just smiling and interjecting on occasion. Hi, ladies. What are you talking about? Oh, nothing. I was only telling Sophia I passed my latest quiz this morning. I heard you helped her some, Eric. Me? Yeah, but it wasn't a lot, really. Congratulations, Natalia. Thank you. It was tough, but I did it anyway. It feels great. Good going indeed. With that said, a fox-like smile forms on Fran's face. What are you planning? This is perfect, isn't it? This calls for a celebration. With an exaggerated flourish, Fran fishes out a crumpled-up flyer from their pocket and lays it down on the table. I rarely take it and give it a cursory read. An advertisement for some new business, I see. Sylvester's Saloon. What's a club? Obviously, genius. You guys don't mind drinking a bit, do ya? I've only dropped by this place once with a girlfriend, so now is as good a time to check in on it again. Oh, a club. I've never been to a club. Sure, let's go there then. Sophia, let's go, let's go. Should have expected Natalia wouldn't take a lot of work to be convinced. The determined look on her face tells me she's ready to whisk us there at first faintest sign of consensus. Sophia's eyes widen in pleasant surprise, but she quickly hides it by crossing her arms and glaring at Fran disapprovingly. Yet, no way. As Natalia's sister, it's not good if I allow Natalia to go around visiting shady establishments like this. They've got good vodka there. I'm sold. You, Eric? That was too easy. Me? Of course he's going. Unless, of course, Eric's too square to going out for drinks with 3 dazzling beauties at his side, that is. Hey. The reply forms at the tip of my tongue, but I don't let it slip. I'm not sure about this. Oh, that's interesting. As always, make a new save. Sorry, I've got plans. I need to get some homework done. Sure, why not? Like, okay, the rules are different in different countries. Okay, so like you got to understand, this is American Snek talking here. You can't get into clubs as a high schooler in the United States. So that's different already. But it sounds like this is not expressly illegal. More like it's a thing where like it might be frowned upon or like really shouldn't be encouraged. Like, because here's my reasoning. My ambition is to get to be with Jean. I like Natalia. She is a very cute and deserves head pats. And leaving Fran unsupervised seems unwise. Counterpoint, I would not be interested in this kind of scene. I'm a weird turbo autismo video game YouTuber. I don't do bars and clubs and casinos and all this, that, and the other. I mean, like, yeah, you go to those places in games, but I'd never go in person. I would have nothing to gain from it. I don't drink either. Let's start there. Like, is it wise to leave them with Fran? No. But, you know what? I trust... I trust Sister Chan here. She seems to have a good head on her shoulders. I think she'll keep him under control. I think I'm going to try to weasel my way out of this. Because and my actual reaction in real life would be like, I'm really just not interested. Now, to come up with my excuse, I've got plans. I need to get some homework done. It's interesting that this is like, I don't know if this is the very first threefold prompt, but I feel like there's going to be some deviation depending on what I do. And there may not be. This could be a perfectly linear visual novel for all I know. This is my first playthrough. So, I'm going to say... I need to get some... They're not going to believe me if I say I got plans, because Eric is a loser. But they might buy I have homework. For once, I was glad I had put off my homework, because this whole thing just screams bad idea. Nothing against Fran and the twins, but I don't know them well enough at this point to risk my education for a jaunt to grab a drink. Plus, what if this mystery bar is the place Beatrice works at? Knowing my luck precisely will be the case. Imagining it now as the three of us wander in just for... Oh, I'm telling Dad, he's going to be so disappointed. Shaking the haunting image in my head. Jeez, that hit me harder than I thought when her portrait actually showed up on screen. I steel my resolve against the incoming weaponized pout. I just can't, sorry. I put off my homework and Linda doesn't seem to like the forgiving type. Seriously, you're skipping out on all this fun for homework. Homework is important, isn't that right, Natalia? Oh, right, yes. You are caught up with your homework, right? Me, I am. The look of panic on her face tells me that's no. She is not caught up. Sophia begins to grill her. I think my star is that I am no longer the center of attention at the table. It just seems like such a terrible idea. Like, I cannot fathom a set of circumstances that would be a worse setup than going there. Like, there's no good end and there's a million bad ones. Abandoning Nat to her sister's lecture on the necessity of homework, I hurry outside. Sorry, Nat. Oh, I ditched her so hard. At this point, a sinking feeling settles in. The little nagging feeling in the back of my mind that I forgot something important. In my stomach growls, it hits me. And all the rush out of the cafeteria, I'd forgotten to actually eat lunch. Feeling mad at myself and lamenting the tray I'd left behind, I walk over to the vending machine and consider my options. Dude, you can't skip one meal? Like, okay, maybe I'm weird because, like, a lot of the time I won't bother eating if it's a work day. Like, this is maybe a weird anecdote, but, like, I only eat a very small lunch, if I eat lunch at all, while I'm at work. It's kind of better for me to just kind of stay light. If I eat till I'm full, I will become sleepy and unmotivated, and I'm already enough of that as it is. So rather than risk it, it makes more sense to just have a quick, light, little lunch, and then kind of use that as my lunch break as my opportunity to like read or like play like something on my phone. Like, just, it's a weird thing. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But seriously, you can't skip one meal without going crazy? Like, what kind of weird, weak metabolism do you have? The class is over. One glance at the clock tells me I have time to kill before dinner. It's been a rough week and my world is still uncertain. Maybe I should have gone to blow off steam. Then again, there's Fran we're discussing here. If anyone is the monarch of teenage troublemaking, it's them. Looking at the window, I finally decide to do my homework like I said. Ooh. That's interesting. This feels like we're getting on kind of like a forked path here. On the one hand, if I do something to kill time prior to dinner, I might run into Jean or another character I like. But it's equally possible that I'll run straight into Fran, who will then grill me for being dishonest. So, that would suck. You know, the correct thing to do in this situation probably is to walk honest and actually do my homework. And, I mean, it's not like I can't revisit these later if I so desire, but I'm trying to have a genuine first playthrough, which is generally what I tried to do for visual novels. So, you know what, we're going to be honest, we're going to do a homework like I said I would. If I get my homework done now, it'll be all done, and the rest of the evening is mine to do with as I please. That's the spirit. That's what This is another fun story. When I was in high school, we had period scheduling, which meant that we had 7 45-minute classes. And everyone was complaining that it was super inefficient, they weren't long enough, that the students weren't getting anything out of it. So my senior year in high school, they switched to block scheduling. So you had 4 1 hour and a half blocks for each day. And you would either have classes that alternated every other day, or you would have 4 classes like all day, every day for one semester, and then 4 separate classes in the second semester. So when they did this, it was really painfully obvious that the teachers weren't ready for it. So I would get whatever assignments they had and still have time to do them before I even left the class. And so for some teachers, not all, but some, I would ask for the next day's assignment and I would work perpetually ahead. And I would stay ahead and just have like 2 and 3 days assignments done in advance. And then I could go home and be lazy. I did no homework at home my senior year in high school. Like, not one. Well, I feel bad for dishing Natalia. I just don't want to end my first week going out drinking. The Fran in the picture, the amount of time it would take for one or all of us to get into trouble seems really high. Yes, thank you. I'm glad we're on the same page here. Regardless of my intentions, I do have some homework, so at least I can claim plausible deniability later. I've been taking some time after class to walk around campus, and recently I discovered an easy path to the library that lets me walk outside for a bit. Don't get me wrong, the architecture that Ella mentioned on our first tour is stunning, but I prefer the outdoors. Even after my accidents, I still want to get some sunshine after classes are over. When I was in the hospital, not being able to leave for a quick walk felt stifling, so it's nice to be able to freely walk around here on campus. The library is busy with students, all quietly shuffling around and getting books, working on homework or reading. My first visit here didn't really give me a chance to explore the facility, so I decided to take it in a bit more as I go about at my own pace. This place is really big, come to think of it. It's almost the size of the one at the university Hilda went to. I recall her taking me on a tour of her library and being amazed that it was so huge. Plenty of study space, an entire floor dedicated to old science journals, and another one just for this computer lab. Getting my own giant library is fun in retrospect. Let's see. I need to get a book on Plato's theory of forms for my philosophy class. That'll make the taco happy. I got the name of the book. Now all I needed to do is find it. Guess I'll start in the nonfiction? It'd be in the philosophy section, you putz. I realized quickly this section's pretty extensive. So we have several long rows of shelves, and they're all jam-packed. I recall learning about the Dewey Decimal System back in my old school and how it was designed to organize loads of books depending on the category they were in. Let's see, 100 is supposed to be philosophy, right? After a few minutes, I can conclude that this doesn't appear to be working. I thought I remembered the numbering system correctly, but the book I'm looking for isn't here at all. Unless, did someone check it out already? Groaning, I slide another volume back into its slot. Eric! Oh... Honesty is the best policy, for it brought me back to you. Hey there, Gene. Looking for something? Yeah, do you know where I can find this? I show us a little paper with the book I've been trying to find. Don't think I've seen this book before. Is this for a class? Yeah, for philosophy. Did you check out the textbook section? We have a textbook section. Of course. Those are the teachers order multiple copies of each book that students will need throughout the term. Do you want me to take you? Yes. I would go anywhere with you. I break into a relieved smile. Yes, please. Sure. I was not... Like, when we were going to the library, the thought crossed my mind. It would be super great if Gene was here, but now I'm really happy that things worked out the way they did. Okay, here we are. Find your teacher's name on the shelves, and you should find the book you need. I do what she says and take a look. Cronenberg. Okay. There. I see his name a few meters down the aisle, and lo and behold, there are 3 copies of the book I need. Got it. Thanks, Gene. You're welcome. Happy to help. Any other books you need to find? Baby, are you a library book? Because I'd like to check you out. God, that was bad. I cringed on behalf of my viewers on that one. That's all for now. By the way, what are you doing here when you found me? I pointed to the book Jean's holding in her hands. I was just looking for something fun to read. Ever hear of elementary particles? Can't say that I have. To put it simply, they're the smallest possible building blocks of matter, and we know so little about them. That's not true. We know quite a lot, actually. But the real question is, why do these particles form matter, and what mechanisms drive that formation? It's really fascinating stuff, which is why I want to read up on it and study it some more. Wow, I didn't expect to meet someone finding more homework for themselves in their spare time. Hey! It's not homework if you really enjoy it. I guess that's true, right? Like, if it's your passion, it's not work at all. Besides, I want to do this for a career. I love finding ways I can apply my studies to the real world, you know? I can see that. That's really cool. Jean's interest in science is really clear, and it's definitely part of her charm. In a way, it's refreshing to see someone who has such a clear vision of their future career. Hopefully, if I keep up my studies, I'll be able to do the same thing. I think you will. By the way, were you still planning on coming to our next study? Yes, of course. Yeah, for sure. Saturday afternoon. That's right. I told her will be there, too. Sounds good to me. Okay, well, I have to get going, but I'll see you soon, Eric. See you, too. My recent literary acquisition until I decided to make my way back to my room and start reading. If I want to forge a good career for myself, there's no time like the present to get started. Actually, Jean reappears in front of me before I can start heading back. Yeah. Did you want to come with me to dinner? It's the... Honesty is always the best policy. Always, always, always be honest. That is the moral takeaway of today's episode. I should name today's episode that and just like not explain it until you guys get to this part of the video. Do you want to come with me to dinner? It's getting late. Come think of it, I am getting hungry. I'll go with you. The more the merrier, right? Of course. Thanks, Eric. Yes. Victory is in hand. Friday night in front of the cafeteria. It's obvious now that the school does allow people to leave campus. Maybe going with Nat would have been okay after all. No, Eric. Not with Fran involved. If you and Natalia and Sophia went, that would probably have been fine. But with Fran there, no, it would not have been fine. Okay? Who am I kidding? With Fran in charge of the itinerary, lucky not to wind up in a drunken brawl jail and thrown into jail after a drunken brawl. With a bear. But the campus is quieter than this time yesterday. Fewer people, tighter groups, some people picnicking to celebrate the end of the school week. And here I am eating dinner with virtual strangers. What? No, okay, we literally just met these people. I'm getting a little overzealous. But still, come on, dude! Like, She went out of her way to invite you. You are at least somewhere within the realm between acquaintances and friends. This is not the worst case scenario, so don't talk it down. Anything in particular you're in the mood for? I would like to eat French, actually. I think maybe fish today. For it all seemed empty and quiet from outside, the cafeteria is absolutely packed. People both in and out of uniform are gathered together around the tables, chattering away to each other without a care in the world. Trout this time. Haven't had that in a while, actually. Is it good here? I'd say so. We have a variety of fish here from time to time. Tench, carp, char, and the kitchen staff does a good job preparing it for all for us. But should we try to find a spot to eat first, perhaps? That's probably a good idea. Let's do what I do and go around the perimeter. We should be able to see something open. Yeah, sure. No problem. Lead the way. We take out time circling around the very full tables, trying to find a spot. Oh, there! She points out a table that has a familiar-looking girl staying next to it. Takes me a moment to recall the antiquated uniform as belonging to someone in my form room. What was her name again? Amanda? Andrea? Oh, that's right, Agatha. Sure. Do those girls know you? In passing, but the person standing up is in my form room. The girl Agatha is talking to suddenly waves a hand at the pair of us to call us over. Oh, I see I sold up. Why don't you catch up with your friend and I'll see you later. We'll grab our food and make our way to you. Sure, see you in a bit. Walking up, I recognize the other girls, one of Katja's friends from the other day. A small world, this after all, so they say. I was telling Agatha, dear, I'm just about finished up, so please, take a seat before someone else scoops them up. Thank you. Agatha, have you met... The girl nods, putting on a slight smile. We share a form room together. With this dreamboat, and you haven't scooped him up yet. Slight blush on Agatha's face is apparently what the other girl's looking for, based on her rather predatory smile. My classmate recomposes herself and brushes off the girl's teasing. Good night, Eric. I'll see you tomorrow. Get your dinner, dear. I know how important it is to be on time. I'll keep your pretty boy company until one of them gets back. Sure. Clearly confused, Agatha steps away, hurrying herself over to the side entrance and out of the cafeteria. Looking as pleased as a cat with a mouse, the girl I am now seated with turns her full attention to me. Now it's just the two of us. Just perfect. So, Eric, I know we only met in passing, but I'm curious, how are you fitting here in our new little world? Meet anyone interesting, other than Katja, that is? Sadly, she couldn't be here, because most likely you have been overwhelmed this week. I bet you don't even remember my name, do you? Of course I do. It's... The moment those words leave my mouth, the bottom drops out from under me. Asking a few minutes ago, I would have known it, but now it's stuck on the tip of my tongue. Think, Eric, think. Katja said her name along with the two others. I quickly repeat the scene to my memory, and it hits me. Her name is... Oh, that's mean, game. It's not Ava. It's... I remember making like an aside in my head. I don't think I actually said it out loud. Like, all her friends had names that ended in A. Okay, I definitely did not stop to review the footage or anything. That would be ridiculous, of course. But if they were in... Like, the thing is, they're lined up, and she does tell you Gretchen, Henrietta, and Teresa. But it's a little fuzzy as to whether or not that was in the correct order. But if it is in the correct order, then her name is Gretchen. The smile on her face tells me I'd somehow remembered it. And here I was certain that you'd have forgotten. Well, with having met who knows how many new people this week, a single girl you met in passing would be forgettable. Makes the poor girl feel important. Gretchen chuckles a bit before leaning in, and in a conspiratorial tone begins to talk. I hope you're not upset at Agatha leaving. Friday night is when she video chats with her family back home. Poor girl misses them terribly. Nothing wrong with that. Girl considers me a moment, her eyes burrowing in like she has some secret she needs to share. With a slight grin, she decides to share. I'm not surprised to see who you arrived with, you know. The rumors are circulating about your interest in learning from the French. Excuse you? Ought I to be offended? My mind goes to Jean and her extensive knowledge on apparently all things math and science. I admit surprise seeing you on campus right now. Figured you'd be out in the town, perhaps with an escort by a certain Russian lady. My liver shakes in fear when recalling their plans for tonight. What? No, like, what is with you? Like, one... I barely know you, and you are throwing like a lot of shade at my general direction. I'm just like, one, where do you get off? And two, why do you know all this? Like, it's so, like, weirdly specific. Like, yeah, from the player's standpoint, this makes perfect sense, but, like, are you following Eric in particular? Like, why? Gretchen looks over my shoulder and smiles. Here comes your company. I hope to see you around, Biceps. What the heck was that about? Before I can say any more, she slips away into the crowd. I swear I hear her cackling all the while, too. Okay, we got everything for the next meeting. Lens is all cleaned, worksheets all printed. I think so. Hello, Eric. Looks like you found me, okay? Yeah, I sold I was stuck up front because of all the people, but we got here. Seat safe and secured. It's my turn to go through the line. Doesn't take me long to go through the line today. The kitchen staff's excited as ever. One even remembers my name. Returning to the table, I see the pair are seated, with Jean animatedly talking about something which I cannot hear. And sitting with them is... Oh... My fight-or-flight instinct suddenly kick into gear as our eyes meet. The logical side of my brain knows she'd be stupid to try anything right at this moment, but on a primal level I suddenly feel like a poor rabbit who stumbled upon a lion's den. She raises her eyebrows, trying to place where she'd seen me before. To my surprise, she seems to fail to connect any dots. Oh, hello, Ava. Hey, got a few minutes? I know it's dinner, but... She pulls out a piece of paper. I got stuck on this question just now. Oh, sure, I can help. Maybe I didn't leave that much of an impression on her. Maybe she'd beaten up enough lanky, limping Swiss kids that they've all become a blur in her head. In any case, her gaze disengages from mine and returns to what seems to be a particularly challenging worksheet. Let sleeping dogs lie. If she doesn't recognize me, that's enough. I'll take a win, and not getting thrown across the cafeteria. Dinner's been very enlightening, I must admit. While I did not insert myself into the discussion, Ava seemed engrossed in whatever Matt's question was on her mind. Jean took the majority of her attention, which is good, I think. Still, the feeling of sitting there with a scorpion in the room just can't leave me. As long as nobody pays attention to me while I eat, it'll be fine, I suppose. And you're coming tomorrow, right, Eric? The voice of the table tutor snaps me out of my head and back to reality, and the three sets of eyes all staring back at me. It takes me a moment to shake off my deer impersonation. Yep, tomorrow noon, I remember. Great, I'll see you then. Jean... Oh boy. Forgive me, but I'm going to give this my best shot. Plutôt passer dans ma chambre et matter et m'installer for ce soir. I botched that. There was like 0% chance I got that even remotely close. You're going to drag this out. Votre nouveau lunette de vision nocturne est arrivé? J'ai hâte de voir. For an instant, I almost asked what's going on, but they rapidly stand up and start towards the door, with Jean waving goodbye. See you later. Thanks for the help. Anytime, Ava. See you next week. As she leaves, it strikes me I'm left with a girl who justifiably has no reason to want my company and has pointedly ignored me this whole time. Looking down at my tray, only the strudel remains. Perfect. Snatching up a napkin, I put my dessert on it and stand up. Catch you later, Ava. Only after I'm halfway to dropping my tray off does it strike me that nobody introduced me to Ava. Hopefully she doesn't realize that I know who she is already. Act casual, no worries. Glancing back as I set my tray onto the return, I can see Ava sitting there, slowly chewing her eyes, never leaving me. Once in the clear, I let out the breath I've been holding. I feel bad for not talking to her, but what could I say? Sorry for jumping in without knowing what was going on and making a huge ass of myself? Yeah, I don't think that would work out at all. Guess I could call my parents, let them know I'm still alive. Yeah, probably a good idea. My goal for the evening in mind, take a bite out of my strudel before setting out for the dorms. The real bummer here is I had the opportunity to have dinner with Jean and everyone is getting in my way. It's nice talking to my parents. The questions they kept asking just weighted down on me. Gentle probes to ask about that without saying it outright. Mentions of him without saying his name, treating me like I'm made of glass. I can just imagine the disapproving look on my dad's face as we talked. I really could use some night air. Checking the clock, I find the number is 23:15 staring back at me. Are we allowed out this late? Guess I could ask. Hearing a voice in the hall, I take a risk to take a look. A few boys in the hall wandering about. I recognize the one from my form room and catch his attention. Is it okay if I take a walk this late? I can't sleep. Yeah, be sure to bring your key. They do lock the door, but it's not a big deal. For my answer, I thanked him and headed out for the grand nightly adventure. Alone, I find myself under the night sky. I've only gotten a few dozen meters from the campus where my legs start protesting. I walked like this wouldn't even have qualified as a hike for me before. And now here I am searching for a makeshift walking stick. More like a crutch at this point, actually. I look around the barely lit pathways and start wandering in the general direction of the lake. Alone, I can feel the chill of the night, the noises of insects and birds, my sole company. Relaxing a bit, I let the night pass by me as I shuffle along. And this is when all the lights in the path cut out simultaneously. Stumbling in the dark, I quickly find my feet have left the path. I quickly check the clock on my phone, 23:30. Guess it's time for lights out. My eyes slowly adjust to the darkness, revealing that, in my surprise at being plunged into the darkness, I have wandered into the woods. I slowly advance blindly forward, hoping to reconnect with the pathway. It's at this moment that I wish I had taken a flashlight with. You don't have your phone? What is wrong with you? A noise draws my attention in the distance. I'm clearly not alone out here. It'd be pretty funny if I encounter someone else out here lost in the woods of St. D's. Peering through the trees, I can't see any lights. Only the glimmer of stars overhead give me any idea as to where I am, and even then it's hard to navigate through foliage. If my guess is right, based on 3 large stars I can see, the way back to the past should be that way. I'll try working my way back there and be done with it. This little adventure might be just what I needed to show that I'm fine after all. I'm being independent, I'm improvising, and I'm taking initiative, like a fully functioning grown man should be able to. Nobody's holding my hand out here. I was worried that my less-than-ideal condition would slow me down. Once upon a time, I was tentatively offered a brace for my leg. Before I decided whether or not I'd accept it, the doctors reneged on the offer, having decided it was better for me to unlearn my paralysis. A little extra support could have been helpful now and then, but generally I've gotten by just fine. At the very least, I've become used to how I move around. I'll try to go in the dark as carefully as possible, hoping to avoid running into any real heinous obstacles. As the woods get thicker, I start to second-guess my direction and consider backtracking. When I look behind me, I'm not even certain if I could in the dim light of the forest. Where do I go now? Both my feet are numb, and so are my hands, making my movements imprecise. I feel like I'm sinking into the earth. Somehow a breeze makes its way through the woods and alerts me to the fact that I'm sweating profusely. I clearly picked the wrong direction, because if I had, I should have already gotten out of the woods by now. This is way past my comfort level. The darkness fills me with uncertainty and dread. It's somehow stifling and barren at the same time. Even though I've stopped dead in my tracks, I feel out of breath. Squatting down on my face, touching my knees, I gather my thoughts and weigh my options. Well, can't spend all night sweating and hyperventilating. I need to decide on a course of action. Am I really freaking out over a little darkness? I wasn't even scared of the dark as a kid. Got no reason to be freaking out over this. I thumped my chest gorilla-like and take a deep breath to come back to my senses. Most of my feeling returns, so I make a decision on a direction to go and trot ahead. I'm screwed. I'm lost, and it's way past curfew. Sound of something else moving out here draws my attention. Can't be some other lost student out here, right? Maybe a criminal hiding in the woods? Some serial killer who stalks Swiss boys wearing glasses? Also, there's a remote possibility that there's some kind of animal. Rabbit, badger, deer, definitely not wolves. I mean, are there wolves in Austria? I don't know the answer to that, man. Okay, Eric, you can do this. Close your eyes, let your vision adjust, and see if you can follow the sound from the school. What was that? I look around in the direction of the noise. Maybe it was a deer, or better yet, maybe it was nothing. Deer don't come in the bipedal variety, do they? I mean, you ever seen my dear friend Nokotan? No, they don't. I saw a dark apparition dart out from the corner of my eye, or maybe I didn't. Either way, I don't care, so I take off running, swinging my left side around like an uprooted telephone pole. The numbness, the shortness of breath, it's all coming back and I'm getting dizzy. Am I running back to the school or deeper into the woods? It doesn't matter. I could be making a straight line to Hungary for all I care. No, not straight at all. My left side keeps slipping and falling behind and my right presses forward. I'm going in circles like I'm rowing a boat with one arm. As I start losing my breath, I slow down to try to regain my bearings and rub some feeling back into my legs. Nope, still lost, and I'm being followed. Not paranoid, so I'm imagining things followed, but honest to God, being hunted down followed. There'll be time to breathe later, so I pick up the pace again. Oh god, now my right side is faltering and going numb on me. I could be twisting and spraining both ankles with every step and I wouldn't know. I've definitely gone the wrong way. The woods are getting thicker and I'm having a harder time dodging aggressive undergrowth. Relentlessly, low branches fly at me out of nowhere until... Ugh. Here I am again, dashing through the woods like a cretin. Don't know why I didn't feel the familiarity of it all until now. The crush sensation blasts through me as I trip on a low snag. For a little while, till today, I was doing pretty well. I was getting back into the rhythm of things, feeling pretty good, pretty functional, and now this. Why do I keep going into the woods? Okay, dumb question. Forests are all around us, but why do I keep going off into the wilderness to do stupid shit? God, last time I was freaking out like this, I was back in Switzerland. Last time I freaked out like this, I ended up here. Maybe this time, nobody will find me. No, not again. Whatever you are, you better be here to finish me off. So I'm not going back to meds and doctors and observation and all that mess. I find myself trying to grab a rock or something, but my arm flinches and shivers in an angry, stinging sensation, backed up by a dull, crushing feeling. Must have mangled my palm pretty badly, and the numbness from shock and panic is wearing off. My hand, my head, my chest, it all hurts. I don't even care about that bipedal deer, wolf, badger thing anymore, even as it stands before me, backlit by moonlight. Eric, what are you doing out so late? I'm hallucinating. I've been hallucinating all along. I must have become when I started getting anxious about being lost. I don't even... A flashlight turns on, revealing a familiar figure standing there. Keep running that way, you would have fallen into the lake. The image of me falling into a body of water I now see faintly through the trees helps ground me, I think. Is Isolda actually here? I still don't really know. My head hurts, but I don't feel like I'm hyperventilating as much. I look over to my left, and the scarce moonlight reveals the distinct form of the French girl standing there nervously. You don't sleepwalk, do you? No, I got lost. I got wound up and thought of taking a walk to relax. Usually when someone goes out this late, they have a flashlight when the trail lights turn off. I don't think you're very used to this school yet, Eric, but keep at it. You'll figure things out. Am I still seeing things? I need to straighten this out. Isolda, why are you out here? Bird watching? Really? In the darkness. In the darkness, I can just make her out, or pointing at something just around the trees. Pulling myself to my knees, I lean over to take a look and find a telescope standing there a little ways off. Owls don't come out during the day, so in a while, I come out here to get a good look at the nest up in the tree over there. Following where she points, I can just make out a tall tree standing apart from the others. Otherwise, it looks like any other tree to me. Guess that's why she has the telescope. A lonely hoot from that direction carries by on the breeze, as if the bird in question were offended that I could not witness it in its nightly majesty. Do you do this often? No. Short answer tells me more than a single word should. The answer is obvious, if I think about it. Like me, she has classes every day. Coming out this late must be something unusual for her. Then why tonight? My new telescope attachment came in the mail yesterday. Looking at the object in her hand, it looks like any other kind of eyepiece to me, but it's tough to make out. I'll be able to view some of the animals from a greater distance with this. She gestures for me to follow her back to the telescope. Reaching it, she sets her phone down, giving a glow to the area, allowing her and me to see what she's doing. She takes the object in her hands and removes something from the front, putting it inside a small case, which she sets down in the case nearby. Then, once that's done, she secures her new attachment to the telescope. When she's satisfied with everything, she kneels down and begins fiddling with the telescope's controls. Watching her work in the dim light, I can't help but be grateful that she's out here. Otherwise, I could have wound up with a bigger problem than hallucinated bipedal wolves. I'm guessing you need to wait for the lights to turn off to do this. Yes, the light would leak in otherwise. Gazing up to the sky, she looks almost picturesque, with a faint outline of trees in the background and the shadows falling over the scene. I didn't know the trail lights cut off, honestly. They usually shut them off at 2200 during the week, 2330 for the weekend. The lights turn back on at 5:30 promptly every morning. Why do they turn them off in the first place? Light pollution's bad for wild animals. I hadn't thought of that before, but it makes a lot of sense. It's reassuring to see that St. D's takes preservation seriously. Looking through the eyepiece, she adjusts a little more before stepping away and pointing to the telescope. Would you like to take a look? Sure. I scoot up and take a look. Illuminated by the light of the moon, angry eyes crested by two tufts like cartoon eyebrows stare back at me. The Eurasian eagle owl, also known as Bubo bubo, is one of the largest species of owls in the world. She is at least 5 years old and could live to be over 20. She. Females have a larger wingspan. I've seen her mate flying around here, and he's smaller by comparison. It's amazing. I've never seen an owl this close before. It'll fall into silence, each of us taking turns looking through the telescope. Mrs. Owl looks around, but always looks back at us on the ground as if to say, "Go to bed, you stupid kids!" Despite our admittedly loud activity, she doesn't move from her nest, instead preferring to stay in place. Fun fact, owls cannot move their eyes around in their eye sockets. They actually have to turn their entire head to do that. Do you like owls? Yes, they're my favorite animal. Why? I think I like their eyes the most. They're very large to capture light in the darkness. That's interesting. I like to think so. There's some time I sit back from the telescope and find Isolde's still there, watching me, watching the bird. Thank you for sharing that. You're welcome, Eric. I should head back to the dorms, and you should come too. Otherwise, I'm afraid you'll continue on your journey into the lake, like earlier. My head in shame. I have to admit, she is correct. Without turned around I was, inevitably a repeat exploration of the wilderness would result in soggy feet and a bruised ego. Putting my telescope into a case sitting nearby, Isolde was quick to break down her little camp, and in minutes I would be hard-pressed to tell that she had been there in the first place. Fortunately, she uses her flashlight to follow the trail back to the school, and we end up just outside the school's dorms, and not ankle-deep in water, and some irradiated mallards roused from their irritated mallards. Irradiated mallards, that would be quite a different story now, wouldn't it? Some irritated mallards roused from their sleep. In the yellow glow of the light post, she takes a look at me, and her eyes go wide in surprise. Eric, you're bleeding! She points just above my right eye. I pick past my fingers, and yes, there's indeed blood on the tips. Not that bad, right? You've been bleeding for who knows how long. That's always bad. Blood goes on the inside of people, not the outside. Unless you're donating it. And donations go in a bag. Okay, got a tissue handy? No. She looks at her dorm building, then at mine. Did they give you the key card for your dorm yet? Yeah, I have it right here. Reaching in my jacket pocket, I find it oddly empty. I check a few more pockets where it fully dawns on me and my key card isn't there. Tracing my trip in my mind, realization sets in I must have dropped it when I fell. I locked myself out of my dorm. At night. Eric, I think I lost it when I fell. That's not a good thing to lose, Eric. Do you want to get in trouble for staying out too late? I don't think you would survive a night in the woods. I know, I wasn't thinking clearly. I'll go back to look for it. I don't think that's a good idea. You can get hurt if you stumble around out there again. Looking back where we came, it's obvious she's right. Going out there in the dark is a good way to get myself seriously hurt, even if the imagined wolves aren't real. Any idea what I should do? Bloodroom's locked up by now. It's a long way to the nearest hotel. I think you should sleep in my room. Did she just say what I think she said? I'm sorry, what was that? I said you should sleep in my room. Are you sure that's okay? Why wouldn't it be? Jean sleeps there all the time. I don't think it's close to the same thing. It might be a little bit frustrating with how blunt she is, but she is clearly genuine. I follow her inside. She walks up to the front door and swipes herself in. Sure enough, we make it to the women's building with zero incident. Not a single soul's encountered along the way. At one point, I hear a door open behind me, nearly giving me a heart attack. But before I can be spotted, Isolde opened what I assume is her own door and lets me in. Her ground floor room is emptier than I thought it would be, with a bed and desk both immaculate. She opens her closet door. She sets her telescope case there in a spot perfectly sized for it. I see the organization doesn't end in her room, with the clothes hanging up perfectly, sorted together by color. It really makes me feel out of place with how my closet's an absolute mess after only a few days here. Isolde's being a good host to a very unexpected guest, and so I don't voice my dismay. All right, Eric, sit here. She gestures to the lone chair in the room as she pulls a medical kit out of her closet. So I sit down. She steps up, holding the case out as far as she can, and still keeps it from falling to the ground. Taking the case from her, she steps back quickly, takes a hand mirror out of the closet, and holds it up for me. Getting the hint, I open the case and start working on the cut. Eventually, my wounds are dressed with pads of gauze and taped on. You keep a few pairs of gloves in your kit, bloodborne pathogens and all. The gloves that came in my kit make my hands itchy. I have to use the blue ones instead. Looking at her desk, a box of gloves with blue ones poking out of the top sits on the edge. Thanks. Are you tired? It's pretty late. I should get to sleep. She snatches her case from me, and as I hold it up, she shoves it back into the closet before closing the door. Do you want the bed? I couldn't. It's your room. I can take the floor. Look of pure relief on her face makes me glad I made that choice. Good. I'm not good with guests in my room. I'm not surprised, but she did say something earlier. Where does Jean usually sleep? In the bed with me. The image in my mind goes straight to every straight male's fantasy. I quickly shove that idea down as she pulls a blanket out from under her bed and proceeds to make a mat on the floor for me. Pulling a pillow off her bed, she finishes making a place for me to sleep before she sits down on her bed. Do you sleep in your uniform? No? Why would you think that? Do you wear pajamas? I don't think I have any. I can sleep fine without them. So I had to keep my clothes on, as if there was any doubt I wouldn't. Okay, I'll be right back. She leaves, she grabs something off the wall I wasn't paying attention to, and turns off the room's light. Left alone, I take off my jacket and put it over the back of the chair for laying down next to the bed. From here, I can see a thick stack of magazines and books under her bed. The title suggests they're pretty much all on birds or astronomy. I've seen a few of the bird guides before. The astronomy titles are new. Wait, she doesn't have pajamas. What does she wear to bed? As I hear the door open, I look away from under the bed. In the dark, I can't really see Isolde. She really steps past me and gets in bed. Laying down, she's clearly It clearly is anxious there, so I decided to try and help her relax. That's a neat telescope. My father got it for me when I was 12. Wow, I think I got it. Sudden memories of a climbing axe and cleats hit me. I fight them off. Nothing important, I suppose. What was worrying you so much you wound up in the woods at midnight? I knew she'd ask. Guess honesty is the best policy. It's me being dumb. I was invited to go into Vienna by someone, and I made up an excuse not to go. Then I started to feel guilty that I had disappointed them. Eric, you don't need an excuse. If you don't want to go, don't go. There's nothing you should feel guilty over. A friend should respect your limits, and you should trust them to do that. The weight of that sinks in. It sounds simple, and maybe it really is. I was just trying to avoid conflict and wound up instead making myself angry and lost in the middle of the forest at night. You're right. Thanks, Isolde. When I saw you in the woods, I thought it was someone from the newspaper club looking for the werewolf. That takes me entirely by surprise. A werewolf? It's no legend from dates back to this place was still a monastery. Apparently centuries ago they feared werewolves were in the area, so created a special charm to keep them at bay. Every year for October, someone digs it up and runs an article in the newspaper on it. Last year, I think it was Marco who wound up stuck in the woods, wound up in a horrific rainstorm too. The image of the boy I'd seen my first day out there soaking wet strikes me as funny, and I can't help but laugh a bit. I almost went to check out the newspaper club too. Not that I wanted to join, it would have just been an excuse not to go out. I hear more than see Isolde moving on her bed. I'm sure you'll find something that interests you. Isolde's breathing softens as she falls quiet. I lay my own head back and let myself drift off, the exhaustion finally overtaking consciousness. My dreams end up being fiercely vivid, piles of homework, an army of mocking friends, and so many sandwiches. Eric, Jean, why am I dreaming about her? Insert joke of choice here. I don't know. I need your help. Isolde too? Is this one of those dreams? Odd sounds float through my imagination of French girls, birds, and dark forests. Eric, what the hell are you doing here? Miss Week! Sheer terror shocks me awake. I'm rolling around, soaking in some early morning residual warmth from the blanket. I jerk my posture upright, becoming extremely aware of the fact that I've just been caught in a girl's dorm room. Looks like you had an interesting night. Miss Week, is there something wrong? Begging might not get me anywhere, but feigned ignorance might. Nothing aside from the fact that I got a boy in a girl's dorm room. I set up to face the music, cursing my luck and hoping to salvage my dignity. Eric, whatever you guys did is your business. However, I beg that from now on, you be mindful of the school's rules. They're in place for your protection. And speaking of protection, no. No. Oh, Eric, no! You can always go to the nurse's office. We'll make sure to keep a constant supply of contraceptives. Okay, first off, you were giving Eric way too much credit. Like, come on. She won't even touch hands with me. Why would she agree to do that? And second, like, no. No, it's not like that at all. We didn't do anything. I've never done anything. Just sleep. Eric, how old do you think I am? 30, 35? A pair of abyssal dark pupils bore holes into my soul. They carve into my brain. Wrong answer. 28. Ah. I was your age not too long ago. I know how it is. Right. You can trust me that I say I won't judge you or rub your face in mistakes you might make. What I want you is you don't take me for a fool. Yes, ma'am. What happened to your head? Are you okay? It's curious how easily Miss Week forgives a transgression as great as co-ed sleepovers. Is this normal? No. From what I've heard, the answer is no, but I didn't go to a boarding school, so I really couldn't tell you. I tripped and fell last night. What were you doing? It's not that interesting a story. You will find I am an eager audience. Well, yes. I couldn't sleep, wound out in the woods last night when I went for a walk and the path lights cut off. I got lost, tripped, and hurt myself. Isolde found me, but somewhere during that mess I lost my badge to re-enter my dorm, so she let me stay here for the night. That's it. That's absolutely it, yes. As we grab the bridge of her nose and grunts, clearly not wanting to clean up the fallout of whatever trouble I've been getting into. You people are going to kill me someday, I swear. Where's Isolde? Saw her rushing outside with Jean. As she'd left her door ajar, I came over to close it and found you here. Oh. Next time you're locked out, call a resident or the security station. We are here to help, you know. Are you awake yet? Hertha. The instant Miss Week's body posture shifts. Friendly dorm resident has been replaced by a strict teacher in less than a second. Just who I was looking for. Miss Gaylord, would you care to explain why you have a boy in your room? He lost his badge last night in the woods. You didn't think to get a resident or security. Why? I didn't want to. The simple honesty takes Miss Week by surprise as Jean breaks out into laughter. With her entire lecture destroyed in an instant, the teacher drops her scolding posture and relaxes. It's obvious nothing happened. But Eric slept right there. I mean, never mind. Don't do it again. In a flash, Eartha exits the room, leaving the two women. While Jean seems to be recomposed, Isolde just looks confused. She never had a problem if anyone else slept in my room. Were they all girls? Yes. Well, that's why. That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. Isolde's really great. That was funnier than it should have been. This doesn't seem to be going anywhere fast. Taking the opportunity to stand up and start to fold the blanket I slept under. You're folding it wrong. Lil snatches it from me and holds it to her chest as Jean sighs. I was going to ask you to breakfast, so I think you need to go clean up before class. That bad, huh? Your hairstyle has dirt in it. There's a bit on your face, too. I know a signal to leave when I get one. All right, thanks again, Isolde. Jean's focused on her blanket, giving a slight nod of acknowledgement as I depart. According to my watch, I still have 20 minutes for class starts. Enough time to go back to my room and change. What was I even doing last night? There are countless ways the last 12 hours of my life could have been handled better. Could have gotten up earlier. I could have taken the bed. Could have declined her invitation and dealt with security and the dorm leader myself. I could have not freaked out when I got lost. Could have stayed closer to the fence. Actually, I should have stayed in my room last night. Why did I let a bad idea escalate like that? Because it was funny. Sneak into class just as the lesson starts. Miss Clace doesn't say anything about my lateness. Either she's going to flame me alive next period, or she's genuinely indifferent about a first-time offense. Lunchtime comes, the teacher doesn't leer at me any more than anyone else. I make plans to spend lunch in solitude, but they get overruled by spindly fingers grabbing my sides for a tickle attack. A little bird told me something interesting this morning, and that would be... Last night there was a rooster in the hen house. Cock-a-doodle-doo, you got me. Did the little bird tell you I was cornered by wolves? I heard it was just one wolf, or perhaps a fox. Any more embellishments you'd like to add to the story? Please don't disappoint me. I got locked out at curfew, and a gentle soul gave me shelter for the night. Darling, that's very disappointing. Did you at least make it worth her while? We talked for a bit, then I went to sleep. They sigh at my lack of intrepidness. Why were you so late to class? Did you make her breakfast? Woke up late. There she say the word instead of performing it. They did the joke in reverse. It was a late night, okay? Fran dismisses my defense with a snap of their fingers. If you're going to get in trouble, you ought to make it worthwhile, don't you think? How many days in solitary do you think I've earned? I suppose that'd be rather hard to get in trouble here. If you haven't gotten dealt with yet, then who knows whether or not it would ever come up. You might have gotten away with the perfect crime, my dear. Might you join me and the girls for your last meal? I'd love to. I've gotten myself a bit of a mess, and I should straighten things out. Are you sick of having to drag me around anyway? Be more of a burden to have to visit you. Better get going to the next class. People are starting to talk. Take care, and do be careful, dear. You kind of said the same thing twice, but whatever. Today's late lunch consists of a clinical-grade granola bar and an energy drink, courtesy of a vending machine. How badly would I have to screw up before I end up getting kicked out of here? I sure hope that nothing inspires me to take a walk in the woods again at night. I mean, now you know. You have context now. That was kind of the thing. Had he known any of those things were options, he probably would have taken them. He was just going with Isolde because it seemed like something safe and familiar.